Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mother Mary monthly meeting for 9/9 of 2023. My name is Samara Grace, and I'm happy and honored to be a channel for Mother Mary for about 25 years now. So it's been a beautiful and amazing journey. And on these Zoom calls, I see friends from all over the US and sometimes Canada and other countries that have been touched by Mother Mary and that have enjoyed her wisdom and her humor and her guidance, for many, many years. So thank you for joining, whether you're joining tonight on 9/9 or you're watching the recording. It's always my honor and my pleasure to bring through her messages. And what she wanted to talk to everyone about tonight is not only what is channeling, but how do you distinguish, how do you know that you are hearing what is the highest light for your highest good, not just some sort of stray information. And in today's world, when there is a great deal of misleading and sometimes outright outrageous information, sometimes it's hard to sift through things and find out just, is this true? Is this real? Is this right? So in just a moment, you'll hear me say a little prayer and close my eyes and bring through Mother Mary and just enjoy, because her words are always about love. And to me, that's the answer for everything. And so tonight on 9/9, I invite and invoke the presence of Mother Mary. And as always, I ask to be a clear channel for her information, that all that is spoken be for the highest good of those here gathered, of myself, and of all beings everywhere. So be it. So it is. All right, precious ones. Well, school's in. Take out your notebooks or your recorders or whatever is helpful to you, because I really want you more than anything to trust and hear your own knowing, your own guidance, your own connection. Because once you have that, you can easily navigate and distinguish if something is not of the highest light, if something is not for your highest good, if something is just being put out into the universe by people who, I don't know, perhaps just don't always have your highest good as their intention, but rather have their own, perhaps, agenda. So first and foremost, understand something. The mind of most people lives in the 3D world. What does that mean? It means you read the newspaper. Oh, look, this is what's happening. But it used to be that the news was more accurate. Who, what, where, when, why. Now it's full of sort of flagrant ideas, ego, power hungry, all this sorts of things. So you can't just read the newspaper and necessarily accept and believe what you read there. Same thing with tuning into the news in whatever media you have. And so the mind has become confused. The everyday mind has become confused. And then what happens is you just sort of have...
This meeting is being recorded.
Have one of several different responses to that. You might say, well, forget about it, I won't listen to anything. Or you might desperately go from one avenue to the other. But all the while, what you haven't yet done, and this is the important part, is you haven't activated the mind that lives in your third eye, that connects to the crown chakra, that connects to the higher self, angels, guides, etc. That is the mind that gives you your knowing, not the 3D mind that is very good for driving a car and stopping at red lights. So how does one activate the third eye, open the crown chakra, and let in what is beautiful and blessed and lovely, and of course for your highest good? The short and simple answer is time. You take time to do that. For many people, it's meditation. And yet for many in the Western world, meditation is an irritation to their system. They try to meditate, but I see some of you laughing. They try to meditate, but it's like just, I don't know, it's very difficult. So another way to understand it is, how does one commune with what is larger than yourself? So again, meditation is lovely if it works for you. But if it doesn't, the next things that are really valuable for you to access are what I would call nature's goodness. Nature's goodness. So take a walk somewhere beautiful. Look at the trees. Look at the various things that you would see, the flowers, the birds, the animals. And when you're doing that, what's happening is you are looking, yes, perhaps with your regular eyes, because you don't want to fall down when you're walking, but you are opening your third eye, if you choose, to connect with the harmony and literally the mathematical exquisiteness in nature. So for those of you that find meditation difficult, just begin to do that. Along the way, while you're walking and enjoying yourself, the other way to get out of your 3D mind and into what I'll call the God mind is to develop a sentence or two in which you invite and invoke the presence of the highest light for the highest good of you. Now, many of you have known Samara for 20 some years. And if you've had a reading with her, every single time she says that she wants to be a clear channel for the highest light and the highest good. Every time, thousands of times she said it now. Why? Because it is her tuning fork, if you will, to shut out anything that is not for the highest light and the highest good for herself and for whoever she's doing the reading for, and of course, here tonight on Zoom. So there you are walking around and you're enjoying whatever you're enjoying. And now you invite and you say, I now open, and you can say my third eye or my higher self or my wholeness or my love, you know, whatever's going to work, to the highest light for the highest good, and to activate, here's the second part, and to activate my clear knowing, my clear knowing. So as you're doing that, you may or may not in those first few times get an impression, get a picture, get an image, or even some sentences, but you very well might. And so now this process has begun. You're opening up to nature, you're opening up your third eye and your crown, and you will begin to get these impressions, these ideas, this information. It becomes a kind of reverie as you're walking in nature, communing in this way, and inviting and asking for whatever would be for your highest good to activate your knowing so that you can be a clear channel of you. Never mind me, but a clear channel of you. And so in that process, now the next part is what I would call just refining, because you'll start to get these impressions and your everyday mind's going to say, oh, I'm making that up. This is my imagination. Mother Mary couldn't be talking to me. And so you have to work that through. That's the 3D mind wanting to limit your life back into the 3D world. And so this process of tuning to this is really just believing, and in some cases, writing it down or recording it as you go, and then just checking in on it later. And I think what you're going to start to see and feel is that you are on your way to merging with the wholeness and the oneness that you belong to, but also that has the information that would be most valuable for you. And so it becomes this sort of joining with nature. Now, for some people, perhaps walking in nature isn't available or is more difficult or something like that. Music is another avenue to the sacred, absolutely. Chanting, beautiful music, you know, and of course, it's so available today on your internet videos and sorts of lovely, lovely things. But rather than being an audience to that, see, here's where you have to make a leap from 3D into the other dimensions. rather than just saying, oh, isn't that nice? That's lovely. In order to really have music be an activation for you, a couple of things. Dancing is lovely. So you're playing the music and you're dancing, because now what you're doing is you're engaging your body. You're activating the cellular memory of all that is possible while you're enjoying the music and just moving around your living room, let's say, okay? Same thing as your walk in nature. So you're dancing, you're enjoying the music. And now you say and believe, may I now hear and know what is for my highest light and my highest good. May I know that. May I know that. So all of these different possibilities are a little like clearing the third eye and the crown so that it becomes a clear vortex portal to receive the information. And so your delight in the music or the nature, or in some cases the meditation, is what allows the frequency to change. So the key in hearing your guidance and your knowing is to be able to tune to the higher frequency from which it is emanating. And so it can be just so joyful, just so benevolent and so light-filled. And so it's not an arduous task. You don't have to earn it or deserve it, but it is an attunement from 3D mind, where's my grocery list? Do I have to do my laundry? All of those things, to tuning what is for my highest light and my highest good. So we talked about sort of the connection, making the connection. We talked about the refinement of not listening to the part of your mind that says, oh, you're just making this up. Why would Mother Mary or Archangel Michael or whatever talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So you have to sort of discard all of that and really trust that we do really want to talk to all of you. All of us do. We really want to talk to you, because what is our purpose? What is our purpose? What is the purpose of Mother Mary or Archangel Michael? And what is our purpose? Our purpose is to help you become all you can be. That's it. That's it. And it brings us so much joy when that is what is occurring, because you are listening, but you're not following what we tell you to do. Everything that I just said is an invitation. I'm not telling you have to do it. But so many of you are asking, why can't I be a channel? Why aren't I hearing, what's for my highest good? Well, you can have the finest Stradivarius violin, but if you don't learn how to play it, it will just sit in the closet. So how do you learn to play the violin? Each of you is an instrument. You can follow some of the things that I suggested, or of course, find another way. Now, when you do any of these things and they begin to work for you, what starts to happen then is you get a little, perhaps too excited. Oh boy, now I want to talk to the space commander, and I want to talk to people on Pluto and whatever. And it can happen. It can happen. But what I caution you about is, being a channel is wonderful. Please, please always ask, I now want to connect with the highest light for my highest good. So don't make it a parlor game. That's what starts to happen when you begin to read all of these various channeling stations that are out there, where they're predicting, what's going to happen in 2 years or 10 years or 15 years or whatever. It's not so. I'll just tell you that it's not so, because this world is a free will planet. What will happen next year is dependent on what many of you and many of the other beings choose. So it's a little like an election, We don't predict it. Are there patterns? Yes. Are there propensities? Yes. And that is another thing that we'll talk about a little bit later, about the trajectory of your life. How do you shift a trajectory if you're not happy with it? Or how do you really encourage it if you are happy with it, right? But let's come back. Tonight was really about how to be clear in your knowing. So just in the beginning, whoever comes to you that's for your highest light and highest good, consider them your teacher for a while. Please don't say, oh, this is wonderful, but now I want to talk to, Pluto or whatever, right? Just know, if you've asked for the highest light, for the highest good, whoever comes first, they have something to share with you. They have something to bring into your life. And so by being a little bit studious and a little bit diligent and listening, what you're doing is clearing the third eye, clearing the crown, and accepting that you have every talent needed to channel and be with whichever guide or being has come for you. Why is this important? All of you have a profound purpose here. And it is not necessarily visible all the time. There are patterns of past lives, patterns of ancestral difficulties that many of you are working out. And so when you consider that for some of you, there's been a lot of family issues. For some of you, there's been a lot of physical challenges. For some of you, there have been disappointments in work or in projects or things like that. If you really begin to hear what is for your highest good, you begin to see that even if you have not achieved what you had hoped to achieve, what you thought you were here to achieve, in your diligence and your persistence and even in your struggle, you have made a difference. Because this world has not yet awakened to everything that I'm talking about. It certainly could, but it hasn't. And so you are the forerunners of living in a world that is a lot kinder, a lot more joyous, a lot fairer in so many ways. And so you don't always win the battles as you go. But if you are following your highest light for your highest good, whatever you're struggling with, whether, as I said, it's an illness or a project or a job, children or family or whatever, realize there is a purpose to why this has occurred in my life. And it is not a punishment. It is not a sign that I'm somehow flawed in a certain way. It is because I agreed to come and work on this particular pattern, this particular part of the web of light, the web of love that could be occurring. And find some comfort in that. You know, I always think of Martin Luther King, Jr., and what he accomplished, and yet died so tragically and so young. But if he hadn't done everything that he had done, the world would be even further backwards than it is right now. So realize this is a long journey. It's a long journey, not just your lifetime now, but it's a long journey to bring light to this world. And as Martin said in one of his last speeches, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, he said, but we as a people will get there. And I say that to all of you because it has nothing to do with the color of his skin. He always wanted equality, little black girls and boys playing with white girls and boys, etc., etc. So how do you measure a life? And certainly I know I'm choosing someone who's more famous, than others, but would he have traded that for life as a simple minister who never did what he did? He might have, but he didn't. And so whatever battle you are waging, whatever journey you are on, understand it's part of a very, very long story to bring this world to light. And that none of you have to suffer in that, but take comfort and solace in knowing that you are doing your part. So whatever you are struggling with or facing, let it be sort of like a challenge that you've been given, because you have the strength, because you have the diligence, because you have the power to allow something to change. And, you know, I wish I had a magic wand for each of you, but just like, you know, if you take a caterpillar's becoming a butterfly and you see the chrysalis all wound up and you say, oh, let me help you. When you slit it open, you kill it. And all of you are in various forms of becoming butterflies, you know. And so sometimes there is a struggle in the chrysalis to find your wings, to find the strength to move out of it. And where do you get the strength? I promise you, in many cases, you don't get it from 3D. You get it from us. You get it from that connection to where you came from, all of you, from spirit, from God, from the divine. And then you bring that in, you say, okay, all right, so this is what I got. All right. How can I make the best of what I got? And let me take you back to the other side of that. So yes, you're now meditating and walking in nature and playing music and dancing and getting those connections. The next part is to realize you don't have to do it alone. Yes, you're using us and bringing us through and all of that. But part of the reason it's so powerful to know each other, all of you that wave at each other when you come on each month, is because this frequency of Zoom, Mother Mary, Samara, and all of you, is a miraculous frequency in which all of you want the best for each other. And that is part of 5D, 6D, 7D, etc., all the way up. It is not about winning over someone else. It's about finding the common ground and creating this beautiful tapestry of help for each other without much worry about anything. And so as you download what is right for you, and as you connect with those that are on the same journey, even if it's in a different location with a different set of situations, what you're doing is you're creating more bandwidth. You're creating a greater community. You're creating a greater power. So now when you sit down and you connect with your highest good, highest life, and say, what is for me today? You will know that you have so many with you, not only all of us, but all of your community that has been so beautifully and powerfully helpful to each other. In this community, you could reach out to any of the others and just say, gosh, could you help me with this? And I promise you, if it's within their power, they will. And if it's not within their power, they often know someone who they could suggest. You know, so it's not about doing it alone. Part of, I'll go back to Martin Luther King Jr. for just a moment. Part of what allowed that movement to have the impact that it did, and believe me, I know there's lots more still to do, but what happened? They came together and they marched and they stood and they spoke And so all of you, you're part of the Emissaries of Light, Mary's angels, however you want to call it. And that's not a small thing. But in that process, it's so important to not have that 3D ego that says, oh, I need to do it myself. You know, if I ask someone for help, it means that I'm weak. Or no. Great things happen when lots of small things occur. So just to review, to be where you are right now is a blessing, wherever it is. To have incarnated is a blessing, however difficult it might be. And your job is to tune in to your guides, teachers, etc. Highest light, highest good, in whatever methodology works for you. And trust your knowing. Trust your knowing, because that will lead you to places you never imagined in your 3D mind. So that's about a half an hour of me talking to you. And I want to just say one more thing. There are no lesser lights. Martin Luther King was extraordinary, but he couldn't and wouldn't have done what he did without the thousands, hundreds of thousands who showed up with him. So perhaps we remember his name and some of the others. But there are no lesser lights. When you do what you are guided to do and go where you are guided to go, you are shining the light of you, and that's your job. So much love to everyone on 9/9 of 2023. We look forward, all of us, to feeling you joining with us, inviting us, whether it's by the trees, the sea, the lake, the flowers, or the beautiful land of music. We love you. We love you. We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.